Mistakes. Learning is all about making mistakes. Don't be afraid to experiment with the language and make mistakes. They are a great learning tool. We've probably all said something similar to our students at some point, and it's true, but it also applies to teaching. Whether it's in an online environment or in a traditional classroom setting, you need to find out what works best for you. Sometimes we'll enter the classroom, our chest stuck out, head held high, ready to conquer the world, and then about an hour later we leave and we're thinking, wow, what went wrong? Rarely does a teacher ever just knock it out of the park with their first swing. It takes time to acclimate yourself to a new teaching environment. Now, personally, I have about 20 years experience in the traditional classroom setting. And when I transitioned into online teaching, I learned what several of you probably already know. The skills and experience you have in one don't necessarily always translate over into knowing the ins and outs of the other. So today, I'm going to be touching on 3 mistakes that I made as I transitioned from the traditional classroom environment into online teaching, and how to prevent them. Do you remember when you bought your first HD TV? Yeah, you probably rewatched your favorite movie and were just amazed at how you could see every little skin pore on Brad Pitt's face. Well, that's how your students view you too. Even though we're not supposed to be the sage on the stage, but more of the guide on the side as language facilitators, in a lot of ways, you are the movie star. It's your voice that the students are listening to, and it's your face they're looking at for the duration of class. So for that reason, it's important to have a good HD webcam to display yourself properly. This is great when it comes to doing TPR, to modeling, to showing props, and especially when it comes to doing pronunciation. When you're showing proper pronunciation, it's really crucial that the students can see your lips, your tongue, your teeth to see what you're doing so that they can mimic you properly. However, all of the HD equipment in the world is nothing without proper lighting. Now, if you don't live in a part of the world where you have lots of natural sunlight coming in during class hours, like me, then it would be a really good investment to pick up a couple lamps that illuminate your face and your workspace evenly and brightly. So what I did, I just went out, got a couple LED lamps that just bathe me in this beautiful, natural looking sunlight, so that takes care of any shadows or any dark areas on my body and my face. Now, in addition to that, a good quality headset and microphone combination with noise canceling technology ensures that your students can hear you clearly, but they can't hear your family upstairs, your pets, and certainly not your noisy neighbors. But please, don't forget to test your equipment before entering the classroom. There's really nothing worse than having those first few minutes of rapport building being hampered by technical issues. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? A fast computer and strong internet connection over and above what Wales requires as the bare minimum, and a larger monitor are all beneficial to your teaching experience as well. Now, I do know that some teachers use laptops and they have absolutely no issues, and that's fine. For my personal situation, my first month with Wales English, I used a laptop and I just felt like I was hunched over the screen. Everything was smaller, the toolbar was tiny. And when one time I tried to reward the students with stars and I ended up muting their microphones. So it just wasn't for me. After that first month, when I received that first glorious paycheck, I went out and treated myself. I bought a desktop computer and a nice big 32-inch monitor, curved screen, and it really enhanced my teaching experience overall. Again, that was just what worked for me. I'm not suggesting that you go out and try to recreate NASA's Mission Control Center, but a little bit of an investment in some quality equipment can really go a long way. Some people may argue that too much lesson planning can actually be a bad thing. Now, that may be true in the traditional classroom environment. In a situation like that, if you don't cover all the material in one class, it's not really a big deal. Sometimes you can just pick up where you left off next class or assign it for homework. However, at Wales English, there is an expectation, a requirement in fact, that the whole of the lesson be covered in the allotted time. Now, when I first started teaching with Wales English, I found this to be incredibly challenging. I found myself in situations where the students are engaged in the material, they're dialoguing with each other, and essentially they're just enjoying the here and now of the lesson. So why stop? But your eyes are always on that clock, and the clock can be unforgiving. And you really need to find a way to budget your time to get through all of the contents in a timely fashion. There are some teachers who are able to do this seamlessly. However, I am gifted in no such way. And therefore, I like to write down on paper exactly what each slide entails. I don't always need it, but it's nice to have it there to reference. Now, I don't mean micromanaging every single minute of the class, but I do record, for example, those little red buttons. What happens when you click them? I don't like surprises. I also write down what props I may need, little funny comments I can make at certain times. Sometimes the students get through the material too quickly, so I have extension questions written down. I also have little helper hints for the students that may struggle on certain slides. But the most important thing out of all of that would be a running tabulation of what minute I need to be on with each slide. That is what helps me the most. It puts me at ease. I can put the anxiety back in the back seat and really focus on what's important, and that's helping my students learn English. We've all seen those selfies posted by our friends on social media where their eyes are just a little bit off center, and it's clear they're checking out their own appearance rather than looking at the lens of the camera. When I see a photo like that, I say, hey, that photo has no soul. I'm not a shy guy, so when I talk to somebody, I believe in maintaining good eye contact. I feel that this conveys certainty, honesty, and sincerity. And when I was teaching in the traditional classroom environment, my students found me approachable and friendly, maybe even likable. And I think that was in large part due to the eye contact when I was speaking to them. So, transitioning over into online teaching, hey, sure, just keep looking at the students when they speak, no problem. It's a whole new kettle of fish. And I didn't see the problem until I watched some of my teaching videos, and all I could think was, what the heck am I looking at? My eyes were constantly down to the side, just like a soulless selfie. You need to always consider the experience of your students, how they view you, and how they perceive your actions. It does feel unnatural to not look at somebody when you're speaking to them, but if you view that camera lens as a sort of keyhole or gateway into your students' hearts and minds, then you'll find it a lot easier to connect with them because they feel your attention and your focus on their learning. So there you have it. 3 mistakes that I made when I was starting out in the world of online teaching and how I found a way to better myself and better my teaching. So I hope today that I've shed some light possibly in some areas that you might need some improvement on. But my list is certainly not comprehensive. So I welcome you down below. Leave a comment if you have any more ideas of difficulties you ran up against when you were starting in online teaching and how you found a way to correct them. Let's make a big list and change the world for the better. So as always, thank you for watching and happy teaching.